Hey, it's Brian from Winter Garden Yoga. Grab your yoga block and get ready because we're going to address something that may help your hips if they click. Alright, before we begin, let's determine where we're going to set the yoga block. The yoga block, essentially it has three heights: high, medium, and low. So first we're going to assess where we're at as far as mobility, as far as ability, comfort, etc. Let's place the yoga block somewhere on your yoga mat. I'm going to turn and face this way. Hopefully you can see what's going on. Left leg as straight as possible, as upright as possible. Hands behind the back if you need the extra support. And we're going to try to lift the left leg at least enough to clear the yoga block set to low. You can be without your hands, it's fine. You can be with your hands, it's fine. If low is super easy, we'll progress to medium. If low is super challenging, stay with low. Okay, extend the leg, arms or not, lift your leg. Can you clear? If you can clear, it's pretty easy. We'll go to the high setting. The whole point of this segment is just to set ourselves up for success, but it's also helping to warm up the muscle groups we're going to be using for this exercise. So last but not least, set to high. Dorsiflex the ankle, extend your toes, extend the leg. Can you clear the yoga block set to high without leaning back, without compensating in any other parts of the body? So once you've determined whether it's high, medium, or low, test the other leg, and whichever leg is the lowest, use that as your barometer. So in other words, if your left leg was low, but your right leg was high, just set your yoga block to low until both legs are equal. Okay, now that we've assessed how to set the yoga block, for demonstration purposes, I'll set it to medium. Sit up tall. Right leg is out as straight as possible. Dorsiflex your ankle, extend your toes. Bring your yoga block, set to whichever height is right for you, to the outside of your right leg. Sit up tall, and we're going to try to do up and overs. Lift your leg up, go over the yoga block, put your leg down. Up and over. And repeat that a few times. Try to not compensate by leaning back too much. There might be a little bit of wiggling around. That's normal and to be expected. But the goal is to more or less keep your leg as straight as possible, to keep your foot as active as possible, and we're just going to do a few up and overs. Switch legs. Bring the yoga block set to medium, outside the left leg. Trying to sit up tall, up and over. So inhale up, exhale down, up and over. And breathe. You're trying to keep your leg as straight as possible. You're trying to keep your foot, your ankle dorsiflexed. You're trying to keep your toes extended. That's the first variation of up and over. Let's try a different one. The second variation of the up and over is to have your leg externally rotated. So in this case, it's my right leg. I'm going to turn my leg in a way that my pinky toe rolls toward the ground. Keeping this external rotation, I try to do up and over, up and over, up and over. Sitting up tall, trying to keep the leg straight, trying to keep the spine relatively straight, and then we'll switch sides. Just do enough repetitions that you start to feel a little bit fatigued. You want to challenge yourself, but you don't want to overdo it, right? So challenge yourself, but don't cheat yourself. Externally rotate the left leg. My left leg is a little sticky for me, so it takes me a little bit of extra effort to get that external rotation. Once it's set, up and over. Trying to sit up tall. Trying to keep that leg as straight as possible. Trying to keep that external rotation. Oops. Really working the hips in a very deep and functional way. One more variation. The third and final variation is the internal rotation. So again, right leg is set. The yoga block is just outside the right leg. Internally rotating is when my entire leg, everything, the femur, the knee, the whole leg, the entire leg rolls inward. So my big toe is rolling towards the ground. Keep that internal rotation. Oh, there we go. Up and over. And you can see this is difficult for me. I had to lean back a little bit to compensate. I had that little groan as I lifted up. So for me, personally, today, I've got to take this and set this to low, because I want my entire technique to be as solid as possible. So I had to set the block to low. Hopefully you notice I'm not compensating as much by leaning back. I'm not groaning as much. That is tough for me. You may find that one variation is tough for you. Those are the ones to practice. So this is telling me I need to go back and work on my internal rotation, especially my right leg. So I set the block to low, internally rotate, keep the leg straight, and up and over. I don't know if you noticed, but my left side is easier for me than my right side. But I'm still going to keep the yoga block to low until my right leg can catch up to my left leg. And then I'll set them both to medium, and then maybe eventually set them to high. Awesome. I hope you found that exercise helpful. Be sure to do some before and after assessments. Try something like maybe a half bridge, maybe a triangle pose, something in yoga or in fitness where your hips feel tight. Possibly sit down on the ground, go through this progression, spend 5 or 10 minutes going through this progression, then do your half bridge, do your triangle pose, do whatever it is you do, and see if that helps make your hips feel mobile, strong, and hopefully pain-free. Give that a try.